My greetings to everybody. Today is the 5th of February 2015. My name is Yogini Rasta and I am yoga instructor of the International Open Yoga University. And this is lesson number 10 for all those people who are willing to learn yoga from very basics and to do it seriously. I hope you had a chance to take a look on our previous classes, as all the materials we are going to study today are mostly based on the ones that we have already managed to do, and all the materials are available on the website yogaopenyoga.com, and you are also welcome to check our YouTube channel where all the classes are available. On our website, though, you have also not only video materials of the classes, but you also have the text materials and some homework, some tests, just to verify your knowledge on the material we have already managed to review. Today, we are having a very interesting and very serious topic that is related to each of us, and this is the relationship between men and women. You would say, what does it have to do with yoga at all? As you said, it's just that yoga is the exploration of ourselves and exploring of the universe. Well, we are social beings. There are all the time people around us, and a lot of self-exploration is done through the other people. But before we start, take a comfortable pose, close your eyes for a moment, and try to relax your entire body so we could concentrate on this class as good as possible. So, take a few deep breaths. And try to release all the tension you have in your body. The main thing is to have your spine, neck, and head on one straight line. Try to combine two opposite things, being relaxed and at the same time being straight in your spine. And concentrate on your breathing for a moment. With every exhale you make, try to relax your body even more. And with every inhale, be conscious of where you are and what you are doing. And then slowly come back to here and now. This was a very short practical exercise. I really advise you to do it as often as possible. Well, don't exaggerate, but once or twice a day before you need to go for a new task, for example, for studying yoga or any studies you have. Or when you just have to switch from one thing to another and it turns out to be a bit difficult, then it's a good thing to sit straight, straighten your back, be relaxed, but at the same time being stable in a position, closing your eyes and concentrating on your breathing, on your inhales and exhales. This is very helpful, and I hope it's going to help you to do today's class even more successfully than without it. So, even though it looks very simple, when you will pay some work and time for it, you will see the benefits of it. So, go on doing this for a week or two, and then see what results it gives for you and decide whether you need it in the future or not. So, but we are going back to the relationships of men and women. And as I already told you, it is very closely related to us because yogis are not living in a cave, simply meditating and pretending that there's nobody else around. And the fastest development that we can have uh, in exploring ourselves is through other people. And we would never be here if we wouldn't have mom and dad uh, to have us here. And they also had some relationship, and there we are. And also searching to have a good relationship with other people. However, relationships seems to be something very basic, something very essential, but very, very complicated because there are a lot of obstacles that are interfering in our relationship. And let's discuss this in more detail. I would actually sometimes compare the relationship to the road, hilly road, during the winter time. When some snow is melting, there is ice, you don't know the road, like you don't know what's going to happen next. If you're going too fast, the car might go off the road, and it will take some time to fix the car or to get it back on the road, requiring probably the help from the side. If you will go too slow, you might also fall down from the road, like not from the road, from the hill, like not being able to get off the hill. So the relationships are like that. You never know what's going to happen behind the corner, if maybe there's some car coming like opposite to you, and we have to be careful, and at the same time we should not slow down too much because otherwise we are not making the movement forward. And it's a good thing to remember these two yoga principles that we are guiding by in yoga, because any system of self-exploration and exploring of the universe will be regarded yoga only if it follows the first two principles. And I hope you remember the first principle is the principle of kindness and the principle of supreme logic in our everyday life. And it says that we should do the maximum to avoid harming any living being unless there's not such a chance. And in this case, we should follow the duty. We spent quite a lot on this topic, so go back to our first two lessons to have a more detailed look on the first principle if you want to repeat or if it's something new you hear. And the second principle is the principle of common sense of the logic, and it says that we should be effective. We should define our goals and not wasting our time and energy, attention on all those things that are not leading to our goals. And these goals can be anything in your work, in your studies, in yoga, in your relationships, in your hobbies, you just name it. But be logical in your life because we are living in a plane of logic, and our lesson on karma was very much devoted to this topic, both on the logic of the life and the logic of work and necessity of work, because without work there is not going to be any results. And yes, these two principles are very, very important. You don't just lay down and wait when the money will start falling on you or the happiness will start falling on you. You have to work out the situation that you have caused in the past, and you have to make decisions on how you are going to move forward. Thereby, there are no like tiny things in the relationship between men and women. And when it comes to the relationships, we also should try to observe the third principle of yoga, that is telling us that we should avoid suffering at any cost. And the second part of it says that we should help others to avoid suffering unless they have expressed such wish. Um, yes, these two parts, and the third principle is very active because a lot of people decide that they want to suffer, and nobody can convince them to change their mind. Uh, Even though they might say, well, please help me, uh, and expect you to do everything instead of them. Um, well, unless they help themselves, you can't help them. You can only take some duties on you that are not bringing any positive and beneficial changes in your life and in their life. So you really have to assess in your way of reducing the suffering in your life and reducing suffering in others people's life. And yes, it is a good thing to think about because we all are free living beings, and unless we want something, it's not going to happen. Because let's say building a house. When it comes to the house, we say, okay, we need some foundation, we need some bricks, we need some wood, some windows, some roof, and so on and so forth. It's very logical. We understand that we are starting from the very bottom and then going gradually, and there is certain time for it that required for the all processes of construction to take place. Uh, if we put in more energy in it, we might get a faster result, but we still need, there's still some restrictions in building the house. The same as in building relationships and accomplishing our goals. So we have to be quite logical in this area. We also have to take into account that people are different and they perceive world as they see it. It's like a big puzzle of thousand and more pieces, and you might have some parts of it, but still the missing pieces uh, leave you doubting whether it's going to look in one way or the other. Thereby, this is the lack of knowledge that sometimes and mostly are keeping us away from solving some issues or making some decisions that we find as not really the right ones. And relationships, firstly, it's the work with yourself. You work with yourself, uh, you kind of follow your reactions in a mutual relationship with other people because it's not them who are stressing us out or making us angry. It's us who are getting angry or anxious or whatever you say. Of course, they are free beings and they can choose what they like, and we choose how we react on it and what's the way of healthy relationships and the maybe not that healthy ones. And sometimes you say, well, we deserve, like women would say, like those queens, we would reserve a prince on a white horse, and we would expect this person to be perfect, while we are not that demanding to ourselves at all. So take it as such that the person you have next to you is the best thing that you deserve and even more. And if you want to have somebody perfect next to you, then you both have to make your work done in this area. And if you want somebody to be perfect, then you should behave like this person is already perfect, but also apply some logical sense and be very careful in choosing whom you are with, because the better people are around you, the better you are. For example, people who are searching for success, they really try to be among some successful people, because when there are people who are all the time whining around you, you won't even notice how you start whining yourself. And just take a notice when everybody is like helping you. Yes, let's do it. Um, don't be sad about something that you fail at the moment, but they are bringing you up rather, oh no, no, not today. Let's not go to the gym today, or let's skip the yoga class today. Or what do you need to fulfill the promise if other people are not fulfilling them? And then you're like, kind of, why are not they fulfilling their promises? So yes, the relationships, it's something not easy. There can be a yogi living in a cave, and it's going to be far more easy than forming a relationship with the opposite sex, because there even two yogis might come together after a long practice, after long asceticism, being very confident, very stable, but still other person kind of helps to bring out all our I would say negative things, but the things that we still need to work on. Otherwise, we would not notice it. But rather than working with ourselves, we start blaming the other person for that. But it's not very logical thing, because um, we are not really confident in ourselves. We are not very familiar with ourselves, and we start blaming others for this reason. So we should start with ourselves, and then we should go next. And if you would say, "Oh, relationship, that's nothing. It's not the world." But if something is wrong in our relationships, then something is wrong in our world. And if we manage to solve our disputes and relationships at home and in the kitchen, then a lot of things will get solved around the world in a larger scale. Because there are two ways in exploring ourselves. One is that you are working with your body, with your emotions, with your mind, with your supreme self, or you are exploring the world, and you start noticing these relationships or coincidences or logical chains in each of these areas. And then the most effective way is when you go in both ways, exploring yourself and exploring the world or the universe. And then you start noticing that whenever it changes something in you, there's something changes in the world. Thereby, this process will happen way too faster than you would just keep on exploring only one area. And yes, if we have some problems in relationships, then we have some problems in perceiving the world. What do you understand under the term marriage? And which ceremony of the marriage is the best one or the most powerful one? Well, it's up to you what kind of wedding you like. whether you bring on in all your relatives, your friends, and in front of them, or in a church, you say that you love the other person, or it's some civil marriage with few witnesses, or it's just two of you, or either you go to some exotic island where there's nobody else, or it's organized marriage for the relatives, and maybe you see your spouse only for the first time in your life, or maybe the ceremony should be like according to the Vedic traditions, and you go around the fireplace and chanting the mantras. It's all up to you, but according to yoga traditions and the Vedic traditions, that is the classical yoga, the marriage is when you have the kids. And then in front of this tradition, you are regarded as married when you have the kids. And you have one wife or one husband for that. So, and actually, people in the Vedic times who were learning yoga and exploring themselves, they were not looking for a partner for their life. They were searching for a mom or dad for their kids. So their priorities were different, like they are today, at least in the Western world, when we are searching for a partner, falling in love, having romantic time together, and then for some reason our relationships start falling apart because you find out that your partner is not that perfect, and your partner finds that you might not be that perfect for him or her. And it's quite painful. Thereby, to avoid such complicated things like the fast divorce and suffering of kids, yogis were looking for their partner among like-minded people. They were not that focused on finding somebody to look in their eyes and admire, rather than they were trying to find the person who are looking in the same direction they do. And this really would help to avoid very many mistakes and suffering in the future that might be there in the future. So, and the main focus is on the kids and helping to raise them and being together for better and worse, and also really a lot of thinking about the relationship, just not as fun together, but the serious work for each other. They were these men and women were really understanding the key things in the relationship, rather than we say just having fun or doing fun stuff together or having a company, not being lonely. But yes, they understood that at one moment they are like seeing a goddess or God in this person, and the next moment it can be a very, very tough times, and they were ready for that. So, of course, there is such a thing as being in love, but in yoga, this is the very top condition, situation, or status when you are being in love. And this is the fact. What does it mean being in love? It's not just some passion or like attraction, very strong attraction, but this means that there is just only one person, and through this person you see the entire world and the entire universe. And for some reason, well, being in love, it's a present. You can't make yourself to fall in love. You can make yourself to love somebody, but really not fall in love with someone. And our uh, lack of knowledge, even when we fall in love, ruin this just because we are not so familiar with things to like being in love. Because yes, when it comes to love, we can love many people at the same time. We can love our spouse, we can love our kids, we can love other people, moms and dads and brothers and sisters. Uh, we can love some other people and things that we do, but yes, being in love is a different condition. Love is still something about the ego, because when you are being in love, there is no place for ego. All you see is the other person, and sometimes you might not be somebody might not this very person that you are in love with might not be in love with you, but there's no suffering between, because you see all the divine through this person, and it's enough for you on this level. Also, you are not lonely because there's just you and the other person, or the things that you see through the other person. Well, our life might not be that romantic always, and yoga would not be yoga if it was not for life, because there's no use in love in yoga if there are no people around and at all. So the main thing in this process of love and relationships is the new life, or continuing of the life. Of course, it doesn't mean that we all have to have children, but um, sometimes people who are yogis say that, oh no, kids, that's the nonsense. They just make troubles for my development, or they are taking my free time. I'm such a good person and I have no time for kids. And then they are like saying, wow, those who are having the kids, they are the fools. Complete nonsense, complete rubbish. Those are not yogis, because they would never exist if there was no their mom and dad and grannies and grandfathers who shared, devoted their part of freedom in order to take care of this child to be raised up. Of course, parents are different, but we are here and we can learn yoga. It means that they have done a lot of things for us to be here, and this is the least thing we can do is to be thankful for them and to take care that our generation, that we're taking care of the next generation. And as they say that if our ancestors will be unhappy, unpleased, then we will see no development wherever in our spiritual life. So even if you can have kids, you should be very nice to those who are having the kids. If there is a chance to help them uh, with a good word, with some attention for kids, taking care of the kids for some time, so the parents could have some time together, then we have to do it. Um, but of course, we should have no more, no less kids than we can take care of, because also the ancient times, people were divided according to their attitude to kids. There are people who are giving birth to kids and forgetting about them. For whatever reason they do it, low education or no brain, or just social benefits, we don't know. Then there are parents who are taking some care of their kids, but not that they would love to do that. they feel it as a responsibility, and they're feeling this responsibility. It's a level higher, still requiring for more, but it's already better than the first stage. And then there are people who are really cherishing their kids, and at the same time they are not interfering in their freedom and doing whatever they can to help their kids. And yes, having an attitude to them as the free living beings. Actually, there is a special mechanism built in our bodies, taking care of the next generation. And have you ever seen that there are very picky people who are, oh, this part, I don't like this person, and I don't like this person could not be my partner, and changing them like gloves. At some point, this mechanism makes you to go for having a kid with the first person you would see at a certain time. And yes, it's something mysterious, something tricky, something very, very unpleasant if you have tried to fool this mechanism by different means. Then at once all the access codes are changed, and all the ways of the operation of this mechanism changed, and people just get caught in the trap they have made for themselves. Then also from the basic theory of yoga, that we have not gone through the axiomatics, there are such aspects as the consciousness and the energy. Energy is something that continuously is changing the form, and consciousness is the ability to receive the information and to have the knowledge. And all these two, and this is something that is the consciousness is the factor of no change, or the things that are continuously they don't change, but the energy is all the time changing. Like the consciousness is observing, and energy is something that is being observed. Together, we all have 9 aspects, and 5 of them are energy aspects, and 4 of them are consciousness aspects. When, in order to grow to the top level, we need to discover all these 9 aspects. And we find somebody attractive if there's at least one aspect of energy or consciousness, depending whether it's the woman or man, shining through this person. And if we see it very brightly, at least one of these aspects, usually it's one, then we find this person interesting. There are couples that from the side you would look, oh, nothing special, and they don't really look like they could go well together. However, she sees some aspect of consciousness, while he sees some aspect of energy in each other, and it works for the relationship. Of course, at some moment, if the factor of energy starts shining through the other woman, this can make the relationships a bit tricky, but thereby we have different kinds of yoga to work with them. And everything that we see around is the combination of energy and consciousness. Everything that we see around is alive. Even a stone is alive. At least in yoga, we see everything as alive. And if we are able to bring our consciousness, our mind on something for a long period of time without bringing our attention away to something else, then this object is discovering itself to us in a maximum manner. So thereby we really need to train our consciousness, our ability to concentrate and to get things to know more. And you would say, what are the suggestions of yoga for the relationship? What is the thing we should observe if we want to follow the path of yoga? Actually, yoga is not getting in any relationship, and yoga is not getting even more in the bed or sex. The only thing that has to be followed are the yoga principles. It's the first principle of kindness, so we should try to do no harm. And if somebody is changing the partners like gloves, then there are a lot of suffering behind that, especially if there are kids from several partners, because it is painful for everybody involved, and forming of harmonious relationship between all those people is close to impossible. And there's also the second yoga principle of logic that also needs to be observed in the relationship. So, and the third principle of non-suffering and helping others to avoid suffering. Third principle is the very active principle when we are trying to help other people. And relationship should be this possibility for you to help your partner and for your partner to help you. But how it works in a real life, you know yourself and you know what to work on. There's also one important aspect that the yoga is telling about the relationships. It means that the sex is not only the pleasure, it is a possibility for the next generation to come, for the children to be born. And in yoga, and the human is the first that can divide these two things, like the pleasure from the sex and having kids. And we all have some potential, and the energy that we have for kids should not be wasted just in having short intercourses. It's a whole theory behind it, but it's one of the advanced areas of yoga that you might be available to have access to later. But this is the information that is available to those who have proven to be more trustworthy in order to share this kind of knowledge and not to do harm to other living beings. Because when teachers, yoga teachers, are working with their students, they are very closely monitoring how well they follow the first two principles, and if the knowledge given to them has been used in a bad manner, then this karma at large extent lies not only on this person but also on the teacher. And what we can talk today is the mechanism, how it's working, and there's interesting things that we could compare. For example, fashion. It's changing with the season. There's something new in the fashion every year, and a lot of business people are trying to make fashion to work to change more and more often. Then also our mechanism for continuing the kin, for taking care of the next generation is uh, very interesting, and sometimes we would say that it's alive because it has our eyes, it has access to our ears, our mind. It sees everything that we see. It hears what we hear. It hears our thoughts, and we just can't fool ourselves. We can't fool this mechanism. And like there is Google, whenever you write something in, there is a certain algorithm for bringing the pages you see, like first 10 pages, then the next 10 pages. Um, and there are a lot of people who are trying to really to find out what's working on. There's a whole business behind trying to match men and women in order for them to make a couple and to be happy. And what does count? Well, first impression, how do you look? What's your hair like? How do you speak? What's your language like? Probably some national things. Uh, um, what your attitude to some things, like the Google, they would say, oh, how well is your website built? Do you have some external links? How many visitors are there? How much information you have? And then a lot of CEOs are searching for this kind of information, and they are studying this topic in order to help their clients to improve their position in Google. Also, we try to understand this mechanism, how it's working, because when it's unsatisfied, oh, we get a lot of suffering. And okay, it says you should have a kid next to you, or you should meet with the opposite sex at least 5 times a week, or um, you should do and this and that. For example, if you have to see a kid next to you or the small kids next to you at least once in 7 years, then you have your friends and you can visit them from time to time when they have small kids. And the mechanism comes down. And you can have some colleagues that you are having a nice and friendly talks every day, every working day and 2 days off. And again, this mechanism gets back to normal. But at some extent, uh, when the time of having kids is coming to an end, this mechanism will work very actively and changing the code very often. The same with the fashion. If you would compare the fashion in, let's say, 70s, 80s, 90s, and now, uh, there's something different all the time. Then there's short hair, then there is long hair, very large makeup, then very neutral makeup, then very skinny people, or very, mm, I don't know, normal shape people. Some some other characteristics that psychology is working a lot on, but the preferences changed as well as the fashion changed, and this mechanism also is changing, and Google search engine is also changing. So um, we see the way things working, and this is good. The things are changing and everything is alive, and this is keeping our kin and the humans alive. Also, some people, when talking about yoga, are saying, what kind of family? There is no family for yogis. All they have to do is to sit and meditate. Uh, this is a very wrong stereotype about the yogis. Also, there's a stereotype that there are a lot of partners for yogis and they're just having some kind of their logic of understanding of the sex. As I said, it's all the stereotypes, and none of them are giving any results. Because sometimes during different generations in different nations, understanding about the relationships and the sex differed. Now we see the sign of the sex everywhere. Well, in the West. East, this is still covered with some kind of blanket or veil. And when there's too much information and a lot of rubbish, it gives no result and it's just confusing. And when there's no information at all, it brings a lot of problems for understanding of a young person. Imagine there is a child or the teenager hormones are starting to work regarding the opposite sex, and this person just simply doesn't have any kind of information. What's happening to this person? Why is it happening? What to do with it? And if you start suppressing it, it just brings new and new problems out there. So we should be really careful when sharing this kind of knowledge. And there are always magazines and some friends who are giving us information on the sex, very far from the truth. And the truth for everybody is different. Some people like one thing, somebody absolutely don't like it. So if one thing worked for one person, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for the other person. And sexuality is a natural thing, and we should behave in the same way, but it doesn't mean that everything has to be sexy and the woman is assessed by her ability to be sexual. The problem also in blocking or misunderstanding the sexuality is bringing us to the very different maniacs and to pornography or very many problems that we see today, even though it seems that the internet and the public area is so full of this kind of information. And also it gives the negative, not that negative, the wrong impression about the relationships. That this is all about the sex, having a lot of partners, but nobody's telling mostly, or nobody is paying for that. That's to tell that about the feeling of emptiness that it's leaving behind, because there's a lot of things involved there. So, but this is not the topic of our today's class. So we should be able to speak about the sexuality, and yoga is also speaking about this. But yes, not using just it as for sale, and as everything that is happening, it's having its cause and it's having its consequences. Thereby, we should have the knowledge about ourselves. We explore ourselves, we start to understanding ourselves, we start understanding the other people, we start understanding the world. And this is what we need. Firstly, you must have a will to do something or to have the information. Then you have the information, add some, receive the knowledge, and add some action. Those are three things that we need to accomplish anything: will, knowledge, and action. I would really suggest you to write down these things, even though I'm using quite simple language, because if I would be reading or commenting the ancient texts that were written thousands or hundreds of years ago, we would not understand it, because then there were different life circumstances, and they used different kind of terms, different kind of examples. They had different level of understanding. And today we need to start from the very basics, and then we gradually can go up. So this is more like making foundation of a foundation for you, rather than just going for the I don't know, seventh chakra, top chakras, where already the spiritual examination. No, and this is something that we really use in everyday life, and this is what our Open Yoga School is doing. It's trying to use those small crops of the knowledge we have left from the ancient times and adjusting it to our today's conditions, in order to for the people to be able to understand it and to use it, not just having a nice chat or to look very sophisticated. No, it's just to be able for people to have the knowledge and to bring it into an action. Because if you are seeing this information, then probably you were looking for it, and now you are just able to use it. What is very dangerous is when you have some whole of information and there's something true and something false. If everything would be false, you would take it and throw it away. If everything would be true, you would take it and keep it and use it. But when something good, useful, appropriate comes with something that is false, we feel confused because it's very difficult to find the difference between what's working and what's not. For example, if you have a medication, any medication can become a poison. It just depends when you use it and how much you use it. Or if you are not using it enough, it's just not going to give the result. So it means that we have to be very attentive, very careful with whatever is happening around us, what kind of information is coming to us, and what we should throw away and not look at it at all. And still bring something that is not how to say, familiar, or something awkward, something alien, is also very dangerous, because the mechanism that is taking care of the life and the next generation have survived, helped to survive these people through all these times, and has found something good and something not working. There can be no artificial combining or bringing together of people and nations. If it's not happening naturally, then no artificial things will ever work. Even if it's done for a good reason, and even though these people have a lot of in common, this mechanism will keep away this. And the internal mechanism will find all possible ways to stop this. We have seen some attempts to make perfect humans. We see a lot of ways how people try to artificially, without the relationship, create kids. But this is a very dangerous thing happening. So, and they are not interested in what's going to happen. They don't observe the first and second principle. That is very, very important in this area. It's silly to come in a place somewhere to bring your tradition there without respecting the tradition there and to say that your teaching is the only correct one. Or if you were somewhere, you bring back home how they dress, what they eat, how they greet each other, some rituals that are so awkward for the people living there, and you would say this is the only truth, and you start suppressing or oppressing people and saying you have to use this. It has to be their free will, because even if they will be forced for some time to pretend that they are accepting this, sooner or later it will bring to a revolution and will not be very positive. We can't make a tribe in a jungle to live by the standards of the European Union or the United States. The fact that the GDP is not that high or is 100 times lower doesn't mean that they are not happy and that they are not satisfied with their life. And yes, bring the same religion to everybody is not a correct thing, but still we have to be careful, as this is the very fragile ice that we are stepping on, and we should very be respectful to all these things, because yoga is not dividing people by their nationality, gender, um, color, or nationality, as I told, where they live, how much they earn, and so on and so forth. It just depends uh, how aware you are yourself, how conscious you are of yourself, and about observing of the principles. Yoga is respecting everybody, and the open yoga knowledge is available to everybody. And only with the time you will be able to discover the secret knowledge of yoga. And also there's a part of yoga that is impossible to tell, because there are no terms how to explain it. You just have to discover it yourself, putting a lot of work in it. Uh, yes, the conclusion here would be, just don't deny the life. Just don't deny the kids, and there are different life situations. Something suits for them, and you don't have to go and save everybody just because you think that they are a bit more poor than you are. Sometimes our help might cause even more problems than do the favor. If you give the vaccine to the people in a very poor country, it might turn out that people who are surviving in a very large number, just because they didn't die of the illness, they start starving. They are very hungry and they are very desperate. And in some way, it turns out that we just have created the suffering. And kids, it's the very large responsibility. And if we can help the kids, we should do it. But we should start helping the people around us, because it seems very easy sometimes to go somewhere to help somebody, and in rather than helping them, we are helping our ego to grow, because maybe we feel guilty that we haven't done something, we haven't helped our people, or there's misunderstandings with our people, and it seems so easy to go somewhere and to do something there, because our money there is the bigger, and we seem to be rich there, and we think that we have done a good thing, while at the very end it might not be so. So we have to think not what's going to be immediate reaction or immediate consequences, but what's going to happen in the long term. And don't search for the miracles. There are no such things as the miracles. Search for the knowledge, as there is the knowledge, and you will find out whatever you need. Just making the questions, working in this area, and a lot of things will discover themselves to you if you are working in it. And in the relationship, that's the main topic of our today's class. The thing is that we very much apply the meditation for may all living beings are happy, and we wish that to three kinds of people: to the ones we love, to the ones we are neutral to, and the ones that we see as our enemies or the people we don't like. Because it's also very useful when we are in a relationship, as sometimes it takes only 1 second from love to hate, and this is our internal transformations, and we have to be ready for that, because we might think that we need help in dealing with our enemies, but we really need the most help in dealing with our loved ones, because they know the most effective ways in hurting us. And it takes time to understand things and to understand why something is hurting us and why people have changed in the way they did. So if you ever hear that people have perfect marriage, perfect relationships, they never have any disputes or misunderstandings, it simply does not happen so, unless they are very spiritual people and they are enlightened. Then I might agree with that. But even the best couples have their time when they are not feeling very well, when they are going through some challenges in their life, when they don't understand each other, when they have some health problems, when they are simply tired, when the kids are out of control. They are kids for that, and they are our greatest teachers. It just is their ability to go through these unrestful times and to wait, to give a time factor, to give some time for the things to come down. And it's work. It's the considerable, significant work that we do with ourselves, and working on something that simple individual practice would never bring out. Thereby we have the partner to speed up our growth. And if somebody is telling that yes, their life is perfect, and it seems from outside that everything is great, and you start feeling jealous, or you start like being, oh, I'm so, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. Either they are very good in keeping their life to themselves, or they are spending their entire energy on trying to pretend or make others to believe that they are some special people. So yes, there are no relationship without conflicts. Be ready for that, and give yourself patience and time as much as you can, because really some storms are just happening due to some factors inside you, like there are different hormone changes, there are different challenges in the life outside, there are some financial changes, and uh, it's the factor of attitude and work with yourself. And also, what we shouldn't forget in the regarding the relationships is the matter of touch. We all can feel, we all need to be touched, um, from the parents, from your friends, in different nations differently, from your partner. And sometimes we go and have a massage in order to succeed in this lack of these touches. However, some psychologists start telling that touch is something sexual and always sexual, then I would say it's complete rubbish, and it just turns on completely, like like the dad is holding or hugging the girl, and they both need it, or the mom holding the son, or the mom and daughter and dad and the father. It's normal, it's natural, and it's necessary. Otherwise, both of them have the lack of it and start feeling guilty or wrong just because they want it, but somebody is telling that it's not right. We should not be afraid of our kids and our parents. Of course, we can't force them to love us or that we are going to hold them, but there's no use in experimenting. There was a military experiment to make the soldiers uh, without emotions, and they raised the kids without hugging them and taking like being nice to them. These people went crazy just because of that. We are social human beings. We need other people around us, and we need to feel this, and nothing will ever replace it. So we just have to understand what's natural and what's nice. And people who are raised without a touch and hugs are suffering very, very much. So don't do this mistake. Um, and remember that the partner you have at the moment, if you have the partner, then it's the best that you deserve, and changing of the partner is not going to solve the problem. Um, it always brings to the same mistakes, to the same problems, so better work it out with your current partner. If you don't have a partner, uh, then probably you are not ready for the partner. It's your possibility to work on this topic, to help yourself to become ready for the partner. And it's no use to kind of feel some bad feelings, some negative feelings due to the fact that you don't have the partner right now. If you wish for the partner, then right away the universe creates the condition for you to have the partner. And yes, just remember that those 3 yoga principles are very important, and we should follow them as us to improve our life situation. And as long as you let it go that you are not chasing for the partner is right there. So I hope this lesson was useful for you, and I hope you were able to bring something for yourself. I hope you made some notes, and there will be homework available on this class. So I'm really looking forward to see your feedback on this lesson. Don't forget to add your thumbs up for our YouTube channel, and share this information with the people who might require it. And we will see the next time, and we will review one more very important and interesting topic on yoga next time. So my name is Yogini Rasa. I'm yoga instructor of the Open Yoga, and all the information is available on our website yogaopenyoga.com. See you soon. Bye bye.